In this video, we'll work one more double integration problem. This is a setup finding a volume. I'm going to set it up, and then I'm going to use a calculator, online calculator, to give me an answer. This problem requires some trig sub and a u sub, so the video could get pretty long. So I'm going to leave it short. If you need to, if you want to work it out by hand and check your trig sub, you could send your work to me, and I could take a look at it for you. It's not hard. I mean, trig subs are hard. I'm not going to not say that. You know, we all know that is true. So, but here in this case, I'm more worried about a setup and you working on double integration than I am a trig sub. Okay, so how I like to start these problems is I like to bound all my stuff. So I'm going to bound my z, I'm going to bound my y, and then my x. Okay, so I can see the z, they give me this, and then if we're looking at that, that's a circle in the xz plane. But it is a cylinder in our 3D because it's missing y. Alright, so I would need to solve this for z. So if I do that, I get a plus or minus. One of these should say like greater than 0 or something like that. I will make sure any assessments aren't subjective. What I'm saying is we get a plus or minus, but we're going to use a plus. There's nothing in this problem that tells us that. It's kind of subjective. So we'll go with z is between 0 and the square root of 16 minus x squared. And then I know y, they have y equals 0, and I can just take a look at my picture. Y is 0 all the way up to the line, negative 2x plus 2. And then x goes from, I can see from my picture, it goes from 0 to 1. So this volume is going to be x equals 0 to 1, y equals 0 to negative 2x plus 2, and then the integrand is going to be a 16 minus x squared dy dx. The reason the integrand is this, it's z minus z, right? Top minus bottom. So we have that. That's the setup. I'm not going to work this out. It's a pretty straightforward problem. Not really. It's a trig sub, and it's going to take some time once you get to that point. The answer for this, I'm just going to give you that because all I'm concerned with is can you set this problem up. So the answer, if you would like to check yours, is negative 128 over 3 plus 11 square roots of 15 plus 16 sine, inverse sine of 1/4. That comes from our trig sub. That is also roughly, that's my exact answer. If we were to use a calculator, if you want to check there, 3.979. Alright, so if you'd like to check that, what I require of you, if you would like to use a calculator, what you would need to do, this one actually isn't bad. You can set up, and this is why I kept saying this is pretty straightforward, because if you use your calculator, it is pretty straightforward. There is no y in this integrand, so if I were to calculate it, okay, so I'd introduce a y square roots of 16 minus x squared, and then, sorry for that, my dog's barking. And then y runs from 0 to negative 2x plus 2 dx. I would plug that in. That's going to introduce that negative 2x plus 2. So negative 2x plus 2 times the square root of 16 minus x squared dx. You get to this point and you can jump. You can't get that probably from your calculator, but you could get this. I'm cool with you getting to this point and using your calculator because that's what we're probably going to do in the field going forward anyway if you ever have to actually set something like this up. But that's what I'm more worried about is the setup rather than the doing a trig sub. The trig sub, where that's going to happen is I would multiply both of these. Well, this part, those two together, would actually just be a u sub. But if I were to do the multiplication of 2 times that, that's what's going to require a trig sub. If you'd like to try it, please give it a shot. You can email me, and I'll let you know if you did it right.